Hello. I'm going to be talking about ice hockey as a microculture. I'm trying to do specifically playing the sport, but I feel like you'll see some things kind of overlap with like watching hockey too, especially within hockey teams around here. There's the microcultures within the hockey microculture of if you're a Devils Rangers fan. Big difference. I'm not biased or anything, but you know. Next. Okay, so beliefs and values of ice hockey players. The first one that is highly valued, that isn't specifically for a high school team or another team you may play on right now, but I had to list it, is the Stanley Cup. That's pretty much the equivalent to like the World Cup for soccer players. Last year I was watching the Stanley Cup game and my friend literally started crying when the Capitals won. So it's a big deal and it's highly valued. Two, this was also one of the first things I thought of when I started considering what my values were. When I play, definitely the goalie. If anything happens to the goalie, if anyone's saying anything they should not be saying to the goalie, that's like the one person that the entire team is on it when they see that happening. I've seen huge fights break out just from someone on the opposing team even trying to screen our goalie, which isn't even necessarily wrong. They're just doing what they need to do as defensemen. Good ice times. That's another thing we definitely value a lot. In high school, when I played, most people who played like soccer, football, whatever, they would go right after school at 2:30 to go practice. Us, on the other hand, you have practice before school, after school, but like really late. You don't get home until super late. So when we got like the perfect ice time, like the 3 or 4 o'clock one, that was like extremely valuable to us. When you play hockey, you start to value really like little things that like people definitely would not get, like ice. There's some rinks right off the top of my head I can think of. I'm not trying to call anybody out, but there are definitely rinks that they have really good ice, the ones that like I would want to go to right now, and ones that when you would see it for listed for a practice, you were just not happy about it. Like some of the ice is like really wet, some of it has like dents and bumps. That's just not good. The other thing too, and this kind of goes into a microculture. In a microculture, I was the only girl on my hockey team, so this wouldn't be the same for the guys, but for me, I started to value certain rinks over other ones because of just the way they treated me. Not that they were like disrespectful or anything, but because I was the only girl, they didn't really like care to prepare like a locker room for me or anything. So when I would get there, they would have the other ones like filled, most of the locker rooms filled with things like equipment, like maybe the referees, and then they would just tell me to go change in the bathroom, which I got used to, but not the funnest. Any hockey player can disagree with me on this if they want to, but I'm pretty sure that all hockey players kind of have the belief that they are, or we are, the like toughest players, the toughest sport. If you've ever seen those memes where it's like shows a picture of a hockey player who just is like bleeding out, like just like got cut with a skate or something, goes and gets stitches and comes back, and then on the other side of the picture is like a soccer player or a basketball player that just got like a minor injury, and they're like, and it says like out for 3 weeks. So that's how we like to view ourselves. Characteristics and traits of those who play hockey. You could be anybody and play hockey, physically speaking. Yeah, it would benefit you if you are, I guess, stronger or more athletic. But in terms of like looking at someone and being like, they can or can't play hockey, that's not always true because one, I play hockey. I get so many comments where when I say that I play hockey, 99% of people be like, oh, that's cute, field hockey. And I'm like, no, ice hockey, but thank you. And also, some of the smallest kids on my team were the toughest in high school. actually the shortest kid. He was also a wrestler. He was the one that he's literally gotten kicked out of multiple games because he would just get in fights. Like, not even just like check somebody, like he would get in like actual fights. So appearance, genes, whatever, that does not matter. What I think kind of is more like matters in terms of characteristics is your mentality. You definitely need to be persistent, determined, not afraid. It is a contact sport, so if you're not trying to get hit or hit somebody, it's probably not the sport for you. My coach would even try to bench me sometimes during games against like really like rough teams, and we would get in fights because he would try to argue that I was gonna get hurt, and I was like, listen, I signed up for this. This is the point of the game. I'm here for it. So stereotypically speaking, people consider it to be a guy's sport. That's not true. Even though I was the only girl on my team, I've met a bunch of other girls from towns around me when we would play against them. And I don't know, it's always kind of good to see another girl playing. Behaviors and communications that are different from the dominant culture. The first one, which is kind of an obvious one, is position names or terminology people might not know if they don't play the sport. Same goes for any sport. Like when I would tell people I play hockey, and I feel like just to start conversation, they'd be like, oh, what position do you play? And I would say right or left wing. They would literally say to me, that's cool, I just don't know what that means. Another one that I want to talk about is something that even I personally saw, like what happens when there's a communication gap. For drills you're doing, or like even the way they draw out the drills on the board. If you don't know it, you're falling behind. So it's definitely a big thing that if you are playing on a team, a competitive team, you need to definitely pick up quickly on terminology, different names for drills. Like, for example, if you join a team and your coach says, okay, we're gonna start off with Russian circles or a Russian mile, which isn't a good thing. If your coach wants you to do that, you probably did something wrong. Or for conditioning. And, or like right before every game, you start off with a butterfly. A butterfly drill is pretty much like something you get extremely used to if you play hockey. It's pretty much like the most basic drill. It's what you're gonna do before every game. If you go to a hockey game and you see the warm-up that they do before where a player's coming from each corner and shooting, that's the butterfly drill. Communication between lines also gets more specific. The team has a way of communicating, but also each line. This can be verbal or nonverbal, but honestly, the nonverbal one is the more that's more impressive, because if you can like read your line mate's body language and you know what they're gonna do, then you can come and pick up right where they're leaving off, which is obviously what makes a good line, a good team. For example, I guess if like whoever's on center is coming down and wants to fake a slap shot, and then they want right wing to come in and pick it up and score, how are you going to do that if you can't read what the other person's about to do? So you need to definitely establish a community there, like I said, with both your team and your specific line, and be able to read people at all time and know what the other person's about to do. You definitely need a certain set of skills to play hockey. For one, you need to know how to ice skate. If you don't, I don't think you're playing ice hockey. And then building off of that, you just get better over time. Yes, you need to know how to skate, which is good, but then you also need to know different like things to do, like crossovers, how to hockey stop, not just like glide and stop, stick handling, different types of shots, slap shot, wrist shot, etc. A bunch of things you need to know how to do. Some interesting facts about playing ice hockey. If you play pond hockey, it will mess up your skates and it will not be good the next time you play. I speak from personal experience. I would play pond hockey with my dad, and I would usually get my skates sharpened after, but there was a time that I played pond hockey and went to practice the next day, and I literally looked so stupid because I couldn't stop the right way, I couldn't turn the right way, because my skates had like no edges on them, which I guess is another type of terminology for playing hockey. So if you walk like if you go into an ice rink and you see the padding on the floor, some of my friends have asked me why is that there. It's because if you walk on concrete or anything like that, anywhere off of those pads, it will mess up the edges on your skate, and then you pretty much won't be able to skate. Or you can, but not well. And another interesting fact is, I don't know if anybody plays at an outdoor rink, because one of our main places we would practice is Warrenaco, which is half outside. If it is raining, it's not going to be a fun practice, because when it rains outside, and like I said, it's like a half indoor, half outdoor rink, on the ice gets so foggy, and it is just, it's not good. When you're doing like high intensity drills, it's not good if you can't see like a few feet in front of you. You don't know what's coming at you. It's like the easiest thing to compare to if you don't play hockey or like have never played specifically in a rink where it's outdoor and it's raining and it's foggy. If you're ever driving and it's like kind of like crappy out and your window starts getting, like your windshield starts getting foggy and you can't get it to go away and you like think you're gonna die because you can't see, that's what it's like to play in the fog. So if you ever play an outdoor rink, don't go if it's raining. It's not fun. Another interesting fact, I've kind of gotten this question before. If you've ever seen the movie Miracle on Ice, the scene where Herb Brooks is making the team do suicides constantly, as kind of like form of punishment, that happens in real life. Yes, not as intense as that, but definitely it's kind of like an established thing that if you do a drill, you obviously want to do it right the first time just for your own benefit, for the team's benefit. But if it's kind of an off day and you hear your coach say like, speed it up or we're doing suicides, like get it right this time, we're doing suicides, that's not a joke. You will be doing suicides. So if you are that person that is messing up the team, and you're the reason that your coach is pissed, people are not going to be happy with you when you're like 10 suicides deep and everybody's dying. That was your fault. This is kind of an interesting fact and a struggle, because they don't, like the ice rinks don't expect a girl to be coming, because they just assume that it's always going to be only guys unless it's like a full, like a complete girl team, not like co-ed. They will never prepare for you. And I was going to say like most of the time they won't. No, they have never prepared for me. I've had to change in closets, bathrooms, and the very, very lucky times that I've gotten locker rooms, it's never only my locker room. So with ice times, they stagger the times. So like while a team's on the ice, another team will come in, they like Zamboni the ice, and then the next team will come on. So when I would get there for practice, there would be no one in my locker room. It was good. I was all by myself. But when I learned this my freshman year in high school, when I was coming off the ice, I saw a bunch of stuff, like the guy sticks outside of my locker room, and I go in, just want to get my stuff in peace. No, there's an entire team in there, all guys, and this has happened multiple times. So I started to just ask when I would come in, and I would feel honored that they were like, oh, you're in locker room 3 today. I just started asking, what time does Summit come? What time does Watch On come? And every time I was right. I was not going to be in there alone. I was going to come out and there was going to be an entire group of guys. So, not fun. Another question I get that kind of leads into an interesting fact is, why do I wrap my stick? If you've ever watched hockey or seen a hockey player's stick, at the end of it, the blade will be wrapped with tape, kind of like this, but it can be different colors. It's like a cloth tape. One, it helps for grip. Think about if you're playing a whole game, you're getting ice on your stick, it's getting wet. So if you don't have the tape on it, most likely the puck is just going to slip off. Yes, you could still play like that. It's just not a good idea. And because this is cloth, it helps absorb the water. So grip, and also it just helps with like the wear and tear of the stick. On the topic of tape, another interesting fact is that we use tape like this kind. It's clear tape. It almost looks like regular tape, except it's stretchy and rips easier. Because if you use this kind of tape, it's just not comfortable. Because you use it to the clear kind to tape your equipment. The main thing I can think of that hockey players use the tape for is their socks. They're not like regular socks. They look like this. I know, they're huge. And a lot of the times they slide down. There usually is like a way that you can like Velcro it, but I found it doesn't work. It usually comes off when you're playing. So yes, you tape it like around your leg, and that's why I said this kind is kind of annoying. If you use that, you shouldn't, because it doesn't stretch. So once you tape it, like that's how tight the tape is gonna stay. The other one stretches, so it's comfortable when you play. You don't even really feel it. If you don't have that, it's so annoying. I've run out before during games and I literally go and like buy it from like the pro shop because it's just not fun. Another interesting fact about ice hockey players is they will change the color of their laces depending on the month or the team. These ones technically don't have like that much meaning. My high school colors were blue and white, so I got blue. But the ones that have like more meaning, for example, are this month, October, is Breast Cancer Awareness Month. And so most of the games you go to, you'll see that the players have pink laces, which I think is nice. So in conclusion, hockey is a microculture because hockey players have a different set of beliefs, values, ways of communicating, behaving, characteristics that are different than the dominant culture. And as I mentioned before, I think it's interesting to see that even within this microculture, there's more microcultures. Again, I am not biased or anything, but even if you do not have the chance to play hockey, which is a great microculture, I definitely think you should look into being part of my mini microculture within my microculture, because, you know, again, completely unbiased, but the Devils are just a better team than the Rangers.